Good morning. I hope you guys are well. So this is a very sensitive topic. It's not a topic that I'm too fond on communicating about, okay? Because it's very sensitive, including for me. However, when I was given the assignment of spiritual warfare, this also includes speaking on various forms of spiritual warfare, okay? And nothing is excluded from that. We are to learn pertaining to any area of spiritual warfare. And one of the hardest areas of spiritual warfare is when the spiritual warfare is coming from your own either mother or father. Please test the spirit. Please take this to God to make sure that this is actually your word. And even if this is not your word, but this is something that you know you're battling with, or you've been going through this for a while, and you never received your clarity as to why this is happening, this may also resonate with you, okay? So the first things first. This morning I heard the Lord say, it's your mother, all right? Now, as someone that's already been no contact with my mom, and I've been going through this myself where my mom has participated in doing witchcraft against me, my business, my children, etc. I know that, for God to say it's your mom, I already know this. So I'm like, okay, he's probably talking to someone else. And, since last week, I would say about like Thursday, God has been highlighting to me to do another video giving people answers and basically how to know if you're actually in a situation like this. But I didn't post it and I didn't do it because I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I don't like talking about this topic a lot, right? And I noticed that when I did my coaching calls, everyone that I spoke to was going through the same thing. I'm like, wow, God, you are not coincidental. This is definitely divinely orchestrated. So this morning I said, you know what, since I heard what I heard this morning, I'm going to list a good amount of reasonings as to why this is possibly happening to you. And I'm going to say this as well. The Bible says that we are to honor our mother and father. Honoring your mother and father does not mean enabling abuse, enabling toxicity, right? And condoning toxic behavior. It does not mean that you are to be a doormat. It does not mean that you are to accept these things in your life. Because enabling this behavior by staying around while they do this behavior, by allowing yourself to be abused, that is the opposite of honoring your mother and father. Because you are to set an example. And setting an example means not condoning that behavior, not condoning that wickedness. And I always tell people, pray to God about your specific situation and ask God what you should do in your specific situation, because everyone's situation is different. Some people may have a Joseph story where yes, there may have been betrayal from the family in the past, but then they repent later on and God reconciles them, right? Once you have got to your destination, meaning there's no way for them to sabotage you in between while you are no contact. But when you get to your destination, by that time they had already repented and they're willing to make things right. Versus there are some cases where once you cut ties and you go no contact, God will not allow you to open back that door, because this is a person that is non-repentant. This is a person that lacks accountability. This is a person that is carrying the Pharaoh spirit, AKA this may be a narcissistic situation where this person will never admit to what they did. And if someone cannot admit or take accountability, they're going to continue to put you through that, right? So God may tell you in this case to go no contact. Going no contact does not mean that you dishonor your parents. Going no contact means that you love them and you respect them, being the vessel that God used to bring you here. But your assignment and your purpose from God and your obedience to God is far more important than enabling their toxicity. I just had to go sit down and get comfortable before I finish communicating on this topic, because it's a very sensitive topic. So no, just because you go no contact and just because you protect your peace, and you do what's right for you, if you have children, your children, your future, your purpose, it does not mean that you're dishonoring your parents. Okay? Now, I know a lot of people are going to say it's not just, mothers and daughters, or sons and fathers, or mothers and sons, and it's daughters doing it to their mothers, or sons doing it to their fathers, etc. I'm speaking specifically right now on mothers doing this to their child. And the reason is because what the Lord said this morning, He said, it is your mother, okay? Why does a mother do witchcraft on their child? A lot of it stems from ancient spirit in the bloodline, okay? Realizing that you're about to break something generational. And when the devil knows you're breaking something generational, he will use the closest to you. Whether it be your mom, dad, sister, brother, he will use the closest to you. It also stems from emotional trauma. If your parent has not been healed by what they went through as a child, right? Some parents will project that onto their children. We all have a responsibility to heal from what we've been through. We have a responsibility to not project that onto our children. But unfortunately, some parents or some people have the mindset of, if I can't have this, then you can't have this. So in other words, the reason why a mother would do witchcraft on their child is a mother may feel jealousy or envy, and that may be from seeing that you may achieve a little bit more, or you may have more than what they had. And yes, a parent is supposed to be happy if their child is doing well. Any parent would be proud. A mother is supposed to want her child to do better and to want her child to have better than what she had. That's what a mother is supposed to do. A mother is supposed to ensure that her child doesn't have to go through the same sacrifices or go through the same pain that she went through. But unfortunately, not every mother is like this, especially a mother that either has the narcissistic traits, tendencies, or that's carrying that ancient spirit. They're not going to want you to do better than them. So your success or you doing well in your life may actually trigger her because it may reflect on the things that she never got to do in her life, right? And it shouldn't be like that. But unfortunately, that's the case for many people. So your success may trigger her. And not only that, but if you are already no contact with your mother, right? What may end up happening is because you are no contact, she cannot take any credit for your achievements, right? And if you are dealing with a mother who likes attention, who likes control, and she is not going to like the fact that you're giving credit to God for your achievements, right? She may feel like you're putting God above her, which you're supposed to put God above everybody. But when you are dealing with someone who is doing witchcraft on you and is stooping to that level, you have to understand some mothers, their identity is through their children's achievements. And that's why most mothers, they want their child to do better than them. And the reason being is because it's going to reflect the type of mother they are. So that's what most mothers are supposed to think. Like, I want my child to have the best. I want my child to have more than what I have. But when you're dealing with a mother who's doing witchcraft, your achievements is an embarrassment to her. That's how she sees it. She sees it that way because instead of being proud of you, right, and being joyful of your success and seeing it as a reflection of her, she's going to see it as you're doing better than her. She's going to see it as, how come you get this and I never got this? She's going to see it as you're surpassing. She's going to see it as an embarrassment, especially if you did go no contact and you had a rough relationship, and she may have been the kind of person that spoke bad about you, ill against you, or may have told people you're not going to be of anything. If your life reflects completely the opposite of what she said it was going to be, that's an embarrassment to her. So that's another reason why there may be some jealousy and envy and triggers, is because everything that she has spoken upon your life or spoken about your life is the complete opposite. So the people that she has spoken to about your life, they're seeing the complete opposite of what she was speaking. So your achievements in a way will make her feel a little bit insecure, especially if she knows that she has no role or no credit in these achievements. Most mothers, they want to have some sort of role in your achievements. That's what makes them happy. But if you're dealing with somebody who does witchcraft or who has not really been there for you or who has abused you, mistreated you, if they cannot take any credit for your achievements, then that is an embarrassment. They see it the opposite of how a mother is supposed to see it, okay? Another reason why a mother may be doing witchcraft on you is a form of control and manipulation, because she may feel dependent on you and want you to depend on her. So she wants you to depend on her as a form of control, but she's also dependent on you. How is a mother that does witchcraft dependent on her child? Well, energy. Seeing you down, seeing you sad, seeing you always trying to prove yourself to her in hopes that one day you're gonna achieve love from her, that one day you're gonna be comforted, that one day she's gonna tell you something that's gonna make you happy. Her seeing you begging for that is what feeds her, because you're consistently fighting for her affection, something that you have never received. And that is one of the manipulative tactics that a mother that does witchcraft will do, is when you are someone that had no emotional love, no emotional bond, no emotional connection, nothing from her, and she shows you that love, that support that one time, because you have never experienced that, that's going to automatically make you let down your wall. That's going to make you want to open up to her and tell her everything about your life. And then before you know it, she goes right back to giving you the cold shoulder again. She goes right back to her same tactics, right? Because of her losing that emotional control and you being dependent on her, because she's dependent on you being dependent on her. So a mother that does witchcraft, when she realizes that she's lost that control and you're no longer dependent on her and she can't manipulate you the way she used to, that will drive her to complete obsession and rage, and that will make her want to continue to try to, destroy your life in hopes that you'll run to her when things fall apart. That's a manipulative tactic. Another reason why she may be doing witchcraft on you is because of the attention that you're getting. Remember something, that you are a child of God and you have a light. And when God uses his children and they have a specific anointing, that's going to reflect, and that's going to also attract a lot more other anointed. Even if you don't want attention, if you are complying to what God told you to do, you're gonna get attention whether you want it or not, because you are the lamp. The lamp is supposed to be on the table, not underneath the table. And if you have a mother that's been doing witchcraft on you, that has been like abusing you, chances are most of your life, you are the lamp under the table. You were placed under the table so nobody can see you, as in they dimmed your light, or they, spoke bad about you so people perceive you a certain type of way. They kept you in the dark, etc. So now that you're no contact, you're independent, you're operating through your purpose, and your light is shining and you're getting a lot of attention, that can also trigger your mother, especially if you have a mother that loves attention, that is an attention seeker. If you have a mother who's an attention seeker and she does witchcraft, she's not going to like the fact that you're getting attention, especially if it's attention that can change your life, if it's positive attention that she cannot take credit for, that will cause her to go into a rage. So if you have a mother that does witchcraft, that's most likely why they consistently do it. It's meant to dim your light. It's meant to emotionally manipulate you, and in hopes that the attention that you're getting, you will no longer receive, especially if years of your life you were robbed of that attention, even from your own mom. So if you're robbed from that attention from your own mom, you may not have gotten that attention elsewhere. You get what I'm saying? Because you were placed under the table. You not getting that attention from your own mom made you feel emotionally, spiritually dimmed from within, which caused you to go through depression, anxiety most of your life, and not even want to be seen because your own mother doesn't see you. Now that you've become independent and you're on your own and you're out there, and God is showing you your true identity, and God is showing you who you are, and God is showing you your worth and your value, she's so used to you being under that table and being dimmed, it's going to really, really aggravate her if your light is shining, because what she was trying to hide, the world is now able to see. So that's another reason why some mothers will go even more crazy with the witchcraft, is because now they have to figure out how to dim your light, how to block you from being able to succeed. Another reason why mothers do witchcraft is because of the shift of power. When you start operating through your anointing, what ends up happening is God starts to reveal to you your power through him, your strength through him. And remember something, a person that does witchcraft on you, their goal is to control you. And once you realize your own power through Christ, right, then she can no longer control you. And sometimes they may use words in order to manipulate you out of your power so you can give all the power back to them. Again, that is another reason why they do witchcraft, is to have full control over your life, over everything of your life, your love life, your money, your emotional being, your mental state, your job. Their goal is to have control over every aspect of your life because they feel like you shouldn't be able to do anything without them because they brought you here. That's their mentality. I'm the one that brought you here. I have to say so over your life. You don't get to do this without me. You don't get to do that without me. And if I can't be involved, you're not going to have it at all. That's the mentality that some of these mothers have, which is why they will stoop to witchcraft to hurt their own children. Another reason why they'll do witchcraft is unresolved emotional traumas, right? And especially if you have a mother that, you know, was abused in her life, was neglected in her life, she was lacking love in her life, then most likely, if she is doing witchcraft on you, most likely in your childhood, she may have been your bully. She may have been the person that was treating you exactly how she was treated. And she may not see an issue with that. And the reason being is because her mentality is, if I was treated this way and I didn't heal from it and no one helped me, then I'm not going to help her. I'm not going to help him. I'm not going to heal him. I'm not going to heal her. They're not thinking about, you know, I have to break the cycle. They're not thinking about, I don't want to project this. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about what they didn't get. They forget that you're even a human being, and they forget that they're supposed to teach you differently and help heal you and make sure that you don't go through that. But again, when you are dealing with someone who participates in witchcraft, what ends up happening is they don't care about your needs. It's more so selfishness. So if they see that you're more loving, you're more caring, you're more understanding, they see it as it's not fair. That will result in some triggers that will lead them to put you on demonic altars in hopes to stop your progression. Any mother that is doing witchcraft on their child, that's narcissistic. That's narcissism, okay? So instead of looking at it like, you know, my mom is you know, my enemy and she's evil and this and that, see it as there's a spirit that is operating through her, that is utilizing her pain, her trauma, everything that she's gone through, and is utilizing all of that in order to try to torment you. Because that spirit wants you to be bitter. That spirit wants you to not forgive. That spirit wants you to be angry, wants you to feel neglected, wants you to feel betrayed and have resentment. And then if you allow the spirit to have you feel this way, that's going to block your upcoming blessings. That's going to block your ability to heal. That's going to block your ability to prevent that projection from going onto your children, right? So you want to do the opposite of what your mother did to you. And in order to do that, what you have to do is, one, if God tells you to, depending on how severe the situation is, go no contact, okay? And go no contact and focus on healing. Go to therapy, right? And the reason why no contact is so important if you have a mother that does witchcraft on you is because, again, your energy is a form of food for her. She needs your energy to have control, power, in order to manipulate you, frustrate you, etc. If you have a mother that's doing witchcraft on you, most likely there's an obsession with stalking you. There's an obsession with trying to destroy you. There's an obsession in general. So no contact is the best way, because that obsession can also turn very deadly, especially if, because they're doing witchcraft, you know, there's jealousy involved, envy involved, there's trauma involved. There's a lot of unhealed issues involved that will be projected onto you, and that can be deadly. Or no contact is the best way. If you're in this situation, pray for her healing, pray for her to be saved. And you're gonna have to take some of the hits, the verbal hits and the judgment hits. What I mean by that is from family. Be prepared that if you have to go no contact and God tells you it's for protection, do be prepared to be the talk of the family, the one that is disobedient, the one that is, you know, a rebel to her parents or his parents. Like, be prepared for these conversations to go around the family, because remember something about mothers who do witchcraft on their children. A perception has already been placed out there. A seed has already been planted. and that seed was watered throughout the years. So people may have looked at you like the problem child throughout the years, right? And the reason for this is it's a grooming tactic for people's perceptions to be one way about you. Because after going through all that abuse growing up, your mother knows that eventually you're going to speak out because you're going to remember all the things you went through in your childhood. So what happens is that seed of lies, that seed of deceit has to be planted early on and watered, right? To change people's perceptions of you. So when you do become an adult and you do finally speak up, nobody's going to listen to you. No one's going to believe you, especially if witchcraft is involved. Do be prepared to be called mentally ill. Do be prepared to be called crazy. Do be prepared to be called all these things. But here's the thing. If you go no contact with your mom and you're noticing this is all happening to you, you know that, yes, you may go years being looked at as the crazy one or the rebellious child for going no contact. And, your mom's going to obviously play the victim. But understand something about God. If you are truly innocent and this has really been happening to you and witchcraft has been involved, do know that God will reveal it to people in your family. They may not get it right away, but over the years, what happens is, God will start showing people dreams, visions. He may even audibly speak to them. God will start revealing information to your family members about what's really going on and whether you're actually going through this or not. And to be honest, most of the times when God does reveal this to your family, they don't say anything. And the reason for this is because, remember something, they've already had this perception, the seed that has been planted for so many years and has been watered and it grew into something deceptive, right? And you have to understand, when people have this way of thinking about you for most of your life, it's going to be hard for them to not believe what they've heard throughout the years, right? So even if God shows them a dream or a vision, it's going to take time for them to process that information and accept that as the reality of the situation, especially if they've called you mentally ill or if they've accused you or if they've mistreated you because of the seed that was planted. Because yes, some parents, not just mothers, but some parents can plant a seed and that can result in other family members mistreating you because of the perception that was put out there about you, right? So when you do go no contact, don't allow that to get to you. That was one of the things that really tore me apart, was the fact that when I was a kid and going through all these things, I never really had support from my family. And then when I finally spoke out about it, I still never had that support. But what really brought me a lot of comfort was when God told me that he did reveal the truth to a lot of family members. And whether they say anything or not, God has revealed it to them. So the best thing is just focus on God, be obedient, and just pray for the healing and pray for the recovery of your mother's spirit, okay? Because if your mother is doing witchcraft on you, there's clearly something that took over her spirit, right? So pray for the recovery of her spirit. I just wanted to share this because the Lord said that this morning. He literally said, it's your mom. And I know those words, they hurt. I've been through this before, so I know it's a word for someone, not for everybody, but I know the person's always also wondering why it's happening to them. It's not easy to explain to anybody that the person that gave birth to you, that is supposed to love you, protect you, is the very person trying to sabotage and destroy you. That's not an easy, situation to go through. That's not an easy obstacle. This is something that your mom will have to work on, and this is something that she has to heal from. It's not your fault what your mom went through in her life. The only thing you can do is pray for her. We have a responsibility whether to allow our traumas to dictate our future and to control us completely, or to break the cycle. And unfortunately, some people choose not to break the cycle. They choose to continue it, and they choose to allow that spirit to control their life. If you're going through this, you have to make that decision to say, I'm breaking this cycle. I'm not going to allow that spirit to torment me. And that's why no contact is the best until God says, yes, you can communicate again, or, depending on your situation, right? Because if someone's choosing not to take accountability and not to work on themselves, and they're choosing to carry on a cycle by doing witchcraft on their own child, it doesn't matter if they brought you here. That is a dangerous person to be around, right? So just heal and understand that yes, some mothers do have traumas, and which doesn't excuse their behavior, but once you have that understanding that they went through something and they're going through trauma and they haven't healed from it, it helps the forgiving process. I have to give someone this confirmation. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.